Thank you guys so much for coming. We're celebrating the release of The Flower Chef tonight. The author, Carly Cylinder, is the owner of Floral LA, which is the bi-coastal floral design company. It operates both in LA and here in New York. Carly wrote the book with the intention that every reader, from beginner to professional, can benefit from this book. Carly is a self-taught florist who says yes to every opportunity. She wanted the book to offer all of the techniques and advice she could have used when starting out and still employs and needs today. The book is organized as a cookbook and is meant to live in your kitchen. All the recipes are laid out at the beginning, and they even include prep and cook time so that the designer will feel confident and efficient while learning everything step by step. And I've worked for Carly for 2 years now, and as for someone like me, which is another self-taught designer, this book would have been the perfect tool. 2 years too late. But when I say Carly says yes to every opportunity and challenge, I really mean it, which is also why all her freelancers tend to start their happy hour at 2 p.m. But in all seriousness, the skills offered in this book can be applied to any style of design you desire. The universal nature of The Flower Chef is what makes it so valuable, and Carly believes that anyone can create and enjoy these arrangements with the proper tools. So without further ado, we'll pass it over to Carly. We'll start with some questions, and she can tell you guys about herself, and then we'll do a quick demo.
Is it on?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, should we stand or sit?
We can stand.
Stand? Can you guys hear me? Oh, I don't need this.
We need it for the recording.
Oh, hello out there. So as Rachel said, she's worked for me for 2 years. I started doing flowers in New York in 2013. So I really couldn't do anything if I didn't have her. And I'm really grateful for you. Thank you. So, okay, let's see. I can actually, well, if there are questions, I can answer, or I can do some demos, whatever you guys want. I'll do some demos. All right. So, okay. So who has experience with flowers? Half the other florist. Yay. Okay. So some of this stuff is probably, you all know, but if you guys have questions while I'm speaking, please feel free to ask. Shout out. So I'm going to just go over the most basic types of flowers. I use these a lot in the book, and that's mainly because when I started out, I was just buying from this local florist that it was really low end, and this is all they offered, so I had to figure out different ways to use the same flowers, but use it like that. So for roses, okay. So roses, there's thousands of varieties, and just because some open really wide doesn't necessarily mean they're old. Some are going to stay closed. It doesn't really mean they're fresh. Those could die fast, and that's just because flowers. A lot of flowers are grown in really bad kind of conditions and are mass-produced, and so they just don't live as long. So we encourage American grown and all those good types. For freshness of flowers, obviously visually you want to see if there's any bruising, but what I do is I just take my hand and I'll gently pat on the outside, and it should be firm. So if it's softer, it means it's older, just like fruit. You can see. Yeah, he's a boyfriend and sister. So for roses, again, some have thorns, some don't. If you're working a lot with roses, it's best to get a rose stripper. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's only a few dollars. You can get it at the craft store or online, and it's very handy. So you start at the top. I'm like, whenever I do a demo, of course, it doesn't work. And you go really fast down. Oh, it takes it all off. Yeah, if there's no thorns, sometimes I'll just, remove it with my thumb. And then roses, so a technique that is in the book, actually, it's called reflexing. You guys may have seen this. They do it at like restaurants, and all I'm going to do is I'm taking off the flower guards. This is really the only time I do it. And then I take the petal between my two fingers and my thumb and pull it back. So this is for mainly aesthetics, and because it opens the flower, it becomes about 3 times the size of a rose, so it takes up a lot of space. Is it hot in here? Or am I just nervous?
It's hot.
Okay. Like that. You guys seen this? It does cut off the life by a few days, but it's so pretty. It's fair. So you can see that. So if you had a whole arrangement of just these, it would be beautiful and look super expensive. If you want to make rose petals, I'm just use this one. It's already been sacrificed. I'm gonna just take it in one. I'm gonna have you for sound effects and all my videos like. So it's like easily impressive to people, and just like that. I like the classes.
Yes.
That's always a crowd. These are my classes. I'm like, okay. Next is hydrangea. So you all know these. These tend to wilt the fastest in any flowers. They drink through their petals. It's really the only flower that does that. Most people don't know it. So you should always either run it under a sink or you can kind of dunk it in some water and shake it off. This will really increase the longevity. They're super sensitive to heat, so if it's really hot outside, it's just gonna die, but this will definitely help prevent that.
A little trick, if you have to use hydrangeas in a hot July day, is to spray them with a solution of water and Elmer's glue.
Really? Wow. That's
Use
crazy.
sort of experiment with it, like a third Elmer's glue with 2/3
Is it
water.
like crowning glory? How it
Well, it's not, but it's glue, so it's gonna
hold it out?
hold it.
Have you done it with other flowers?
No, just with hydrangea.
I know what we're doing tomorrow. Like, what else could I dunk in glue?
You spray it with a spray, with a spray bottle.
In this people, I'll add that.
Okay.
And not credit you. She's a florist in Larchmont. I don't know.
The flower bar.
There you go. For snapdragons, any flower like a lily or any flower that has a soft petal, I usually just will strip it down with my hands. And then take a knife and I kind of scrape off the tip like that. If you leave it on, it's going to cause it to float in the water and be ugly, so I'm going to do that. For any flower like a snapdragon or stock, I don't know if you guys know what that is, a filler flower, it kind of looks like this. If you have it in an arrangement and you don't like the pointiness, you can just take your scissors and kind of cut it from the top. So that was something when I worked at a flower shop, I thought it was so crazy that people were cutting flowers from the top and from the bottom, but it changes the look. Yes, just in case. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to spiral. This is chapter 3 of the Flower Shop app on Amazon. These are I'm talking to the camera. So spiraling is the technique used to make a bouquet. You can make any kind of bouquet, like wildflowers or a traditional round bridal bouquet. So this is the technique for that. And I think it's the hardest one to learn, but once you do, you work very fast. So, all right, so I took all the leaves off the stem, and then so this bad roses. Okay, so you're gonna have your hand like a holder, and I'm gonna keep it round. A lot of people go like this intuitively, but you want to keep it round to keep it the shape going. So I'm gonna start with one rose. I'm gonna put it in the cover like that, and then I'm gonna add in another flower going on top and angled. I'm going to continue doing that in the same direction. You guys all see that? Mm-hmm. You're not going to see shape till there's about 6 or 8. I'm going to go like that. Now the reason I'm doing this is because eventually I'm going to have to press it down. And if I had a stem going this way, it would probably snap off. It would also be hard to secure. So. That. Now a lot of videos or books will tell you to turn it every time you add a flower, but what happens is it starts kind of going all over the place, so I prefer just to kind of do it once or twice throughout to get to another side. So if you're working with someone, I can be like, hey, is there a hole? And then you'll show me, probably there.
Yeah.
If you're working at home, you can just put it in front of the mirror and just kind of see. So you guys can kind of see it's getting like a dome-ish effect. So something like that. Then you'll just kind of pull up any that's fallen down if you want a perfectly round bouquet. Okay, so that would be like photo bouquet. If you secure it closer to the top, you'll get that tight look. If you secure it in the middle, you can kind of fan it out and create texture and height for something more wildflower. Anyone have questions? For hydrangea, the main technique on this is a lot of time, so small. Okay. So hydrangeas have a natural kind of web inside, so you can stick the flower through the hydrangea when you're designing in a vase and pull it through, and that gives it a more upscale look. If you had two side by side and I put the rows in between, it's gonna force these hydrangeas to spread out a little bit more. And that's good if you want like a country kind of rustic look. But if you want something very like tight and modern, I suggest putting it through, a few through, directly like that. Right. Okay, I'm gonna show how to make a grid. This is how I work, by the way, like in a giant pile of
And then I clean up after her.
So this is what I do, it's like, yeah.
Your floor is very neat.
There's a table.
Yeah, I always get it.
No bending over the skirt.
Yeah. So this is base tape, and you can buy it at a floral supply shop or online at like on Amazon, anything like that. But if you buy it by the Oasis brand, because the knockoffs break, and I wish I got paid by Oasis. I don't do these. I'm like, only buy their brand. Okay, so you can't use Scotch tape. This is special tape, it's sturdier. And I did have a client that would watch me do flowers, and then she'd be like, I tried to make it and it just didn't work. I'm like, use Scotch tape. She was like, yeah. So you have to make sure that the vase is completely dry or else it will all kind of fall off. So I'm going to make a grid. The reason I do this is to hold the flowers in place. Otherwise they would tilt to one side. And so this, I actually think if you buy one like floral supply, it should be this tape. You can use any kind of scissors, any kind of knife, but there's no replacement, no substitute. Okay. So
If you're really stuck, you can use green garden tape, but as long as everything's going to be covered.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You know, it's that,
Yeah, the thick tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. Then green. Yeah. I don't know if they have it, but you can use anything sturdy. Just use duct tape to secure the tape. I did.
Yeah.
Homeland Security would be happy about that.
Yeah. So making the grid, I'm doing it about an inch or so apart. So I'm going to do a 2x2. If you're working with, big flowers like hydrangeas or sunflowers, it can be spread apart. If you're working with thin stems like ranunculus or freesia, make it narrower. Oh, let's do this all the time. You should wrap it once around the perimeter so that when you remove it, it comes off in one piece.
It's easy to clean up.
Yeah.
Helps.
I always forget to do that. I know. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so you guys see that? 2x2. And then I'm going to go once around to secure it. Then if you have any long pieces sticking down, you can just take the knife, press it up, and then move it. So the vase prep and the flower prep is usually it takes a lot longer than the actual arranging. So if you're having like an event or party or wedding, I would definitely do this like 2 or 3 days before, and then the flowers like the day before. So those are some there. Yeah, I think that's it for my demo. That's it. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about how you started your business though? How it came about?
Yeah.
And then I think it's fascinating. I think it's great.
I'm like, where do I begin? How much time do we have? I'm gonna sit down. Can you see me? Yeah. I'm so little behind here. I started my business, I was working on a business plan to own a florist cafe, like retail place. I didn't want to be a designer at all. I didn't know how to design. And then we were in a recession, and so my roommate said, well, you're not going to open that, so start designing out of our house. And so I did, and just like made up stuff. I didn't like I wasn't I was influenced by the shops I worked at, but since I wasn't formally trained, I kind of just did what was intuitive to me. And then I had about maybe like 10 arrangements I had like photographed on a like terrible camera, and my brother Matt, it was like, I'll give you $200 to make me a website, remember? And it was so bad. It had like a scroll bar with like these pictures, and I had this little e-commerce site in El Segundo, and I got an order, and I was like, what? I was like, they're like, I'd like to order flowers for my wife. I'm like, you would? So then I had to like find a wholesaler by the airport and do that. And then I did daily orders out of my home like that, where I'd go to the mart, arrange it, deliver it myself for 1.5 or 2 years. And then I started doing a lot of weddings. So I did like 30 weddings in 6 months. That was like, yeah, that like put me over the edge. I did some corporate stuff, and then I moved out here 2013 and started getting a lot more corporate work that I could never get back in LA, just because there's like a lot more money here, a lot more events, editors, all that sorts of things. So that's kind of how that evolved.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like it. I like it.
It's worked out pretty well for her.
It's worked out. Yeah.
How did you get involved with flowers?
When I was 19, I moved to LA. I got a job at a flower shop as a sales girl. And then I worked at a flower shop / restaurant, and that's when I was like, oh, I want to open this. So I wanted to learn the business side. So I learned the business side and went to Mark's Garden, which is a big florist in LA. I was like trying to like see what they were doing. But I just studied all the business part and would kind of watch them and ask them things and do it at home. But I didn't freelance as a designer till like 3 years after I had my business. So, hi, Lisa. Then it's my agent, my first editor, and her friend. So after I started freelancing for other people, then I was like, oh, that's how you do it. So all the arrangements that are in the freehand section, those are the most difficult, but those are the first ones I started out making. So I started out making the most difficult and then learned the tricks and kind of went the easier route. Does that, yeah, answer your question a little? Yeah. Anyone else?
What's your favorite arrangement, or what's your favorite set of flowers to work with?
Oh. It's seasonal, I guess, because like when spring comes around, we all get like so happy that there's all these beautiful flowers, and I love sweet peas, which there's a arrangement in the book made with them. I'm trying to think of like favorite flowers. I guess dahlias. Dahlias are kind of hard to work with. I don't know if you guys know what they are. Yeah, so they're difficult because they will tilt to one side. So if you have a dahlia or a hydrangea, this is a good tip actually, and it's going to one side, you just need to turn it 1/4 of the way to balance it. So those are beautiful, but they can be difficult. Yeah.
What's next? Well, I see us continuing our events in LA and New York. I'd like to do another book, and one day I'll have my show. So that's the next thing. I don't know. I'm just enjoying where things are at. Like, it's been 7 years, and it's nice to just enjoy this moment. And I have no idea, because, none of us know what the future will bring. But yeah, more books, more shows, more events, more of everything.
How do you end up doing a wedding? What part is you? What part is the bride? How do you come to design
A wedding? So weddings for me were, why I burn out on them is because it is like, brides tend to do a lot of the same, so they'll just show you a photo. So a lot of it's just replicating or like enhancing their vision. The design part, it's very rare when someone's like designed from scratch, a wedding. So it's a lot of just copying. And I just try to steer someone in the right direction. And like, they might pick something that I wouldn't want, and if it's really bad, I try to make it a little better. Like, I think this girl wanted like fake turquoise roses or something in her bouquet, and I was like, I can't do that. I mean, I know I have like fake flowers on, but like, I can't do that for your wedding at all. So tried to like give her some alternatives, added in some sprayed ones. So for weddings, yeah, that's how I do it, consultation. And then, ordering is always challenging. You guys are florists, so I think ordering and buying right is the hardest part, because they're flowers and they die, and that's just money, And then for the actual arranging, even though I'm a florist, I don't like arranging for hours on end. I much prefer to deal with a client and like make a sample or something like that. So for the actual work part, I probably do like 20%, if that. So I'll just see how the designers are going, making sure it's in line with like the client or things I've talked about, and then have them execute it. Yeah.
So that's why you like corporate better, because it's more interesting.
Yeah, corporate I like better because we work with a lot of beauty, fashion, lifestyle brands, so we get to match the flowers to the brand's aesthetic. So, and that can be like very masculine, which is always challenging and fun. Yeah, we work with John Varvatos a lot, so they're always like, flowers, but not flowers, like, we want flowers, just don't put any on our table. And so we're just like, how about this leaf, like, dyed black on black with black? So it's a lot of that. And corporate tends to be fast, so we do, like, especially in LA and New York, a lot of times, I'll get a call like 3 days before sometimes, or 2 days.
Help. We need your help! Exclamation point, all capital letters.
Oh, that's a very short time.
Yeah, it is. That's why I have to get my hair dyed a lot, because I have a lot of gray from people doing that to us. Yeah, so we, for corporate, it's usually like a month, but sometimes it could be a day or two, and make it work. But I like that. It's much more creative, and I love working with brands. So.
Are corporate people more flexible in accepting your if they're not being reasonable price-wise, or
price?
a certain flower, will they be more flexible in accepting your...
Good question, Lair. That's my dad.
You gave it away.
I know, Dad. Well, I do think that, this is a hard part about trying to use really eco-sustainable local flowers, is brides tend to be more like, okay, whatever's in season, like as long as you get the style and the colors right. But some corporate people are like, we don't care, we want this flower from like Africa or like wherever. And so,
Can you get it to us in 24 hours?
Yeah.
No additional charge.
Yeah, so corporate clients tend to they want what they want, and they'll pay for it. And that can be hard, because if flowers don't come in, or for whatever reason. So a lot of times in that case, we just like, we substitute. We're like, well, this is our interpretation of your protea that didn't come in on the plane. We do that a lot. Yeah, our interpretation. I had to do Indian lace, and I was like, this is Indian-inspired lace, using the same color palette without any marigolds. So.
But it's great because you use all the same techniques that are in the book, and then you make it work with what you buy.
Can you come with me?
I follow her around and like pass notes.
Yeah, like she is the master.
No, but
No, it's true.
She organizes everything. She says yes, and then we brainstorm, and she's like, no, we can make it work, and we do, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a crazy process, and it is. But if you know the basics, then you can make anything work, which is why the book is so wonderful.
There we go.
I really wish I had it when I was starting out. I'd call her like 6 a.m. in New York, like, how do you do this? Like, you said this, like, what's a lined vase? And now it's like, it's here. It's perfect. It's
Yeah, I'm like, don't call me because I'm not going to be awake. So figure it out.
It's like,
That's our exchange constantly. I'm not going to answer you, so figure it out.
call you in 3 hours?
Yeah, I was like, call me when I have my coffee. What are you doing? She was training someone else. She's like, don't call Carly. She won't answer. I love you.
But you have the book, so you don't need to call now. It's like,
I'm a nightmare to work for. Yeah. Brooke, did you have something?
What's the most exotic flowers you've ever flown in?
Oh.
The most like preferred instrument design or?
We don't work with like,
gardenias, right?
don't stump me.
Everything's off season.
Well, okay, New York's harder because there's just limited availability in color and what's available. Like in LA, we just have everything of every color almost all the time. So I don't really encounter that as much, but the hardest flower, I don't know. Because any flower can be ordered, even off season, you're just gonna pay a lot and it's terrible for the environment and
And
everything.
it's not going to be good quality. I mean,
Yeah.
you get a peony in the end of August.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that big.
It
Yeah,
costs $25.
yeah, anything's possible.
50 a stem
Right,
yesterday.
well, yeah, so I'm going to sell it
This
for $25,
big, yeah.
right.
Aw, floral shop talk. I don't know. I don't have a good answer because I don't know. Maybe what's like exotic to us isn't, I don't know. Let me think about it.
Maybe it's what you do with it rather than,
There you go.
We do a lot of fragrances, and so they give us a list of like 30 ingredients within the fragrance, and so hunting down all the ingredients is usually pretty hard.
Yeah.
Also, because I found that
She has to do it.
no, but like fragrances, when you get non-flower people saying, oh, we want this, this, and this, you're like, I have no idea what that is. I'm not even sure if it exists.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, that's true. Since we do a lot of beauty, we do tons, like she was saying, tons of notes that make up a fragrance. So notes that make up a fragrance are just like either made up or they're like in a field, the essence. I don't know, there's some bad ones. In that case, then we just find a substitution. Yeah. I'm like, too bad. Yeah, that's what happens. Too bad. Yeah, good question. Hi, Jade. Anything else? Burning floral questions? Anna.
What's your favorite go-to for inspiration, whether it's online or a venue or artist? Who you
Good question. It's weird. I would say anything in fashion, but I don't like fashion. Like I don't. Brooke knows. He didn't live with me, but I don't like fashion. If someone dressed me, I would like that, but I'm not like into styling, you know what I mean? But I love looking at like Alexander McQueen and like all of those runway shows, and now the flowers are just so prevalent in backdrops. Like I constantly am getting clients sending, the flower walls from all the runway shows, like the Dior one and even prints and stuff like that. I feel like it's everywhere. So I guess the fashion industry, I'd say. Yeah. Anything else?
is there a use of flowers in cakes and other things, pastries or?
I mean, I don't do edible flowers. She's asking about flowers and cakes. Oh, real flowers. Yeah, I'm actually doing a class with, do you know Charm City Cakes? Do you know it's a bakery. He had a show called, it's called Cake Masters and Ace of Cakes. But we're doing a like fresh flower cake decorating class. So for that, it's all about finding something you like and then kind of making it your own, you know? So I don't know, all art is, what do they say? Imitation, or you're copying someone else's, you know what I mean? So for cake decorating and stuff like that, I just find inspiration from pretty much existing things and then do a flair on it. I'm trying to think of what we do.
Like even beginning out your hamburger, like, you know, when you did like ice cream cones and hamburgers.
Yeah.
She'll take things that aren't necessarily what you would think in flowers or to be in the flower world, and she will turn it into that. That's the saying yes thing. It's like, can you, or like making huge like signs and displays, even like on the second floor, like we made the Strand sign out of flowers. Like that doesn't happen in regular floral design, but it's taking the florals and incorporating it into the other forms of art.
It's hard to talk about yourself. Like, I love talking about myself, and now I'm just like, I'm like, I love myself so much, and like talking about my work, but now I'm like, I don't know. Thank you. Yes, I like using flowers in anything, and anything can be done with flowers, and mechanics and stuff like that. So
You left that over there. Was there?
Oh, people, when I sign books, you get a little bouquet to take home. So there you go. Dad?
You have a light bulb moment to come up with that name?
The flower chef name?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was just like, God, it sounds so LA. I was hiking in Runyon Canyon, which is like the most LA thing you can do. And I was just, only had my business for a year, and I was like, why is there no florist making flowers easy for everyone? And I thought about Rachel Ray. I thought about all those people on the Food Network, and so I was like, why is no one doing this? And so it just like, from Julia Child's The French Chef, her TV show, The Flower Chef, popped in my mind, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a food and floral book called The Flower Chef. And now it's flowers. I don't know where Alyssa is. Where are you? That's my agent. She's like, no food, only flowers. Let's do it. So the food got cut from that. But and I'm not a cook, so that's a problem. So that's where the name came from. Hey.
To that.
Just because I almost burned down the apartment once. True story.
How do you find people to work with you? I mean, it must be such a hard business.
Find clients or find freelancers?
Yeah.
Which one?
Freelance.
Oh, I know these poor people that have to deal with me. In New York, I teach at Brooklyn Brainery pretty much every time I'm here, and so nearly every freelancer has come from there. It's called Brooklyn Brainery, and I'll be there Thursday. It's, what area is that? I don't.
Like Crown Heights.
Crown Heights-ish. Yeah. Oh, Ariel. I'm so sorry, but I mispronounced her name for like 3 years. Ariel used to work for me, or kind of still does. And Rachel, they came from Brooklyn Brainery, my other person. So when I teach, I get a lot of people that way, because I'm like, you're good. Do you want to work? And I'm not even kidding. That's how every person.
So if anyone wants to work for you, they should go to
a class, and I'll be like, And everyone in New York, even LA, we all have like 10 jobs. So like chances are you could probably work for me with a flexible schedule. And then in LA, it's just word of mouth. So I'll just ask, do you have florist friends? Like the person that's kind of my head designer now, I'm like, can you refer me people? And as long as they are somewhat normal, can design, they're hired. Be nice. Don't be a jerk. You'll stay hired. So that's how it works. Oh yeah. Sarah?
When you're designing for a wedding, do
She's getting married. She's like,
So I'm like trying to gather as much information as possible. Do you tend to, like, if the bride gives you complete creative freedom, do you tend to base the design based on the client and the bride and groom, or based on their venue? Like, which way do you